Okay, moving forward, I would now request G.D Bakshi Saab to please share his thoughts and present this wonderful and historic book to all of us here. G.D Bakshi Saab, please.
I happen to be a general, so I thought that was a small, gentle reminder because we hold our ranks till our death. Okay, not over, not over. Dr. Vasant Shinde, Vice Chancellor, Deccan University, Mr. Rajiv Malhotra, President, Infinity Foundation, and one of the greatest crusaders for India and India's cultural integrity that I've ever encountered in my life. Both the people sitting on the stage, to my mind, are rishis. Rishis in the real, true sense of the term. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here today to reclaim our history, right? A history which had been written for us by the colonial masters, by the British, who decreed, Max Muller decreed what Indian history was and was not. And I'm sorry to state, we have a whole trope, we have a whole breed of Marxist historians led by the redoubtable Romilla Thapar, right? Whose great-grandfather had offered a saropa to General Dyer, the butcher of Amritsar, of Jallianwala Bagh. Let's get that right? And these leftist historians have told us, you brown-skinned people, how dare you change one single word of what the colonial masters decreed. And what did the colonial masters decree? The Aryan invasion theory. We have in the Saraswati Civilisation, right? How many of you know that 60 to 80% of the sites of the so-called Indus Valley civilization have been found not on the banks of the Indus, but on the banks of the Saraswati River, the desiccated Saraswati River, the dried out, vanished Saraswati River. So the Greeks got it wrong, because by the time they came to India, the Saraswati had gone by 1900 BCE, right? And they said, Indus is the cradle river of this civilization. This land shall be called Indica, and from that we have gotten the name India. But you got it on the wrong river. The Arabs came next, and they found the Sindhu. And they said they could not pronounce the S word, they said Hindu river. And we became Hindus since then. And this country has been named Hindustan. I'm afraid you got the river wrong. You got the cradle river of this civilization. You got the name of this country wrong. We were then told, the land area of the Indus, so-called Indus, we better technically call it the Harappan civilization. Technically it should be referred to as the Harappan civilization, is exactly the same as the Rigvedic civilizational area defined by the Sapta Sindhva, the sacred geography of the Indic civilization mentioned in the Rig Veda, talks of the Sapta Sindhva as the land of the Indo-Aryans, right? And these Indo-Aryans, we were told by none other than Max Muller, came to India. They were foreigners, if you please. The Indo-Aryans were foreigners. They came from the steppes, possibly Anatolia, right? Turkey, Anatolia. They came from the steppes. And have you heard the latest jokes being spread from Harvard? We have Tony Joseph, who's written a massive tome to tell us how this happened, but a little more of Tony Joseph a little later, right? He said Max Muller said the Aryans came in 1500 BCE. Why 1500 BCE? Because no civilization can be older than the Mesopotamian civilization. You know, the Abrahamic religions came from there. Judaism came from there, Christianity came from there, Islam came from there. So that is the cradle of the global civilization. At least it was considered in the colonial period. Nothing can be older than that. It has to be well after the Mesopotamian civilization. And he said they came here with their chariots and their horses, war horses. How they brought the chariots across the Hindu Kush and the Himalayan passes is something that beats me as a military man, because I have served on every single Himalayan pass in the course of my 41 years in the army. You get that rickety wooden chariot across the pass? You want us to believe that? Max Muller did. And you did. He says, you know, the identity of the Indus Valley people, oh, they were Dravidians. Poor Dravidians. They didn't, very gentle people. They did not have war horses. They did not have chariot. They did not know what a chariot was. And therefore, the Aryans came, you know, with their war horses and chariots. And Indra was the destroyer, Purandara, the destroyer of 100 fort cities. He massacred the Dravidian civilization, drove them south of the Vindhyas, and ever since then we've had a north-south binary. Right? A north-south binary has been created so that we scrap with one another for every little thing. The fact of the matter is that if there was such a slaughter, if there was such a genocide, where, sir, are the corpses? Where are the corpses? At one side they found 36 skeletons and said, oh, here are the corpses. At another side they found 11. The Vice Chancellor will correct me if my statistics are wrong, but 36 and 11. And when they were examined closely, they had no sword cuts, they had no spear marks, and it later came to light that they had died of drowning. You don't call that a massacre? And let me also tell you, and the very learned professor, one of our greatest archaeologists, world acknowledged, will tell you that the Indus Valley civilization does not have 100 cities. It was supposed to be an urban civilization, but the number of cities that exceed 100 hectares is just about 10. It's just about 10. Right? So how could Indra have destroyed 100 fort cities? Exaggeration. Exaggeration. No, we are not going to talk on emotion here, right? The emotion is against those who try to distort our history. We will present to you in this book and in a seminar that we are going to hold on 1st and 2nd August at the Delhi University Conference Center over 2 days. We are holding a multidisciplinary seminar in which we are going to get the satellites mapping experts from the ISRO. Dr. Bhadra is coming to give you satellite photographs of the Saraswati River, to tell you that it is no myth, it is a reality. Right? It is a reality, plain and simple. Prataksha Praman aapko dikhayenge. Then we'll have geologists like Dr. Valdia, hydrodynamic experts, paleo channel experts, who will tell you what happened to the Saraswati, how the Yamuna and the Satluj used to join the Saraswati. And ladies and gentlemen, do you know it was a river 4,600 kilometers long, 6 to 8 kilometers in width, and near Patiala, where the Yamuna and the Satluj joined it, it was 20 kilometers in width. This is a river mightier than the Brahmaputra. No wonder you see rhinoceros on the seals found in Rajasthan. Please, let's look at facts. So we are going to have this seminar where we are going to get in the first session these experts from the satellite imagery specialists. We are going to get the geologists, the paleo channel experts. Then we will have the archaeologist, Dr. B.B. Lal, the doyen of our historian. He's 99 now, too unwell to possibly reach there, but he is giving us this in an entire film form. We have Dr. Shinde, we have Dr. Best. And in archaeology, you can't ask for more credible names. Because we want to challenge Romila Thapar. We want to challenge Irfan Habib and a whole host of West historians, leftist historians who have taken us for a ride for far too long. Ladies and gentlemen, we will have their genetic experts. The 3 top genetic experts of India are coming to that seminar, right? And who will tell you exactly what genetics says. There's a whole lot of, ever since the first genetic study was done in 2009, which studied the matrilineal DNA, right? And they said 50 to 60% of Indian DNA, is all original, what is called the ancestral South Indian, ASI, because that's where the African migrants had first come from the continent of Africa, right? And for the last 15 years, 1,000 years, that study said, nobody has come from outside. There is no external DNA which has come and mixed. This is what the matrilineal DNA said. So in one fell stroke, Max Muller was hoarsely compact. And Harvard didn't like it because it meant that their ancestors were the dwellers of Haryana, Punjab and South Rajasthan and Gujarat. Because they were also, more of that a little later. But what I'm trying to tell you is that a whole lot of this history needs to be changed in the light of modern scientific evidence. We also have linguistic experts. We also have scriptural experts, and for 2 days they'll hammer it out. I invite the media to please come and face the truth. Do not let us be taken for a ride any longer. And we will be talking empirical facts. In this book, I've tried to put forth those empirical facts, right? So that we can judge for ourselves. We have adopted a multidisciplinary approach so that we can all judge for ourselves what exactly was the truth. In the 1930s, when the level of knowledge reached a certain level in quantum mechanics, they said we have to make sense of what have we got. So in the 1930s, 32 if I'm not mistaken, the Copenhagen Convention was held to make sense of quantum mechanics. And the top scientists of that age, Niels Bohr, Einstein, Max Planck, everybody was there in that convention to effect a paradigm shift in physics. Ladies and gentlemen, today we have reached a level where we need a paradigm shift in ancient history of India. We need a paradigm shift which must take into account the advances that have been made in so many diverse fields of knowledge. We can't have an oracular, approach. Harvard has the best genetic labs. David Reich is, the foremost expert. And what he decrees is God's own truth. I'm afraid in that book, if you read, we will show you 30 to 40 contradictions in what has been said here, what has been said here, what has been said here. Don't take us for a ride. We must own up our history. The French history, the Chinese history, the Russian history is not written at Oxford or Harvard. Why should Indian history, the deciding voices, be Sheldon Pollock, be Wendy Doniger, and the rest of this cabal? And they are decreed, the empire is dead. The sun has set over that British Empire with a finality that is irrevocable. But as Rajiv ji tells us, that empire has just shifted to the other side of the Atlantic. And we have Sheldon Pollocks and Wendy Donigers reading, translating our texts of the Ramayana and saying these are toxic, misogynist, designed to keep Brahminical superiority forever, designed to suppress, the Shudras, the scheduled castes, the scheduled tribes. Look at the binaries being created to break India. And the first person to give this clarion call, almost 10 years back, was Rajiv. Watch out! Watch out! The Americans, the Europeans take the clash of civilizations very seriously. Ever since Samuel Huntington enunciated that thesis, so much work has been done to do down every other civilization which could pose a challenge. We know what Trump is trying to do to the Chinese. What we should surprise you is how assiduously they have been at it to run us down, to break us into bits before you become a superpower. Please understand this very, very nefarious underlying design. And let's not be children. My job in the Indian Army, one of the jobs that I did before I retired, was information warfare. Alright? So what I'm talking of is on the basis of a very empirical scientific discipline which is being done to you. Why is this book, Tony Joseph's book, come out now? Why is it that they get the best of India International Center and we have to migrate to the Delhi University? There are questions. There are questions. But the Indian people have to wake up and own up to their history. Please read this book as a prelude to that seminar. It is a multidisciplinary approach. Everything has been put there. And at the end of this book, it tries to do what the next project Rajiv Ji is working on. Try and guess at a grand Indian narrative. And may I, in conclusion, suggest what that narrative is? It is a narrative of cultural continuity. A great continuity. From 5,000 years ago, I had a whole lot of photographs. Unfortunately, the screen is black, so I can't project on this screen. But I can visually, graphically describe to you. We haven't deciphered the Indus Valley script. But we have gotten a whole lot of terracotta figurines, copper statuettes, seals, where there are the language of visual imagery. Graphic language of visual imagery. And one of the things that is most striking is, small dolls of ladies with vermilion in the median parting of their hair. With bindis like you are wearing, Mother. And so many of our ladies here are wearing bindis. Bindis in the center of their foreheads. You know how old these dolls are? Approximately 5,000 years. We have bangles up to your arm, which you still see in Rajasthan and Gujarat. Above all, we have small little terracotta dolls in the postures of yoga, in Siddhasana, in Padmasana, in Vajrasana. Go and see them. They are there in the National Museum here. 2 of them I have seen personally. Right? And there are many more which are there. So, what is the distinguishing characteristic of the Indian civilization? It is yoga. And what is the other distinguishing characteristic trait of this culture? It is meditation. You have a proto-Shiva surrounded by animals, including a rhinoceros, right? Which he is in meditation. There is a bearded chief priest, or whatever you may like to describe him as, half closed eyes in meditation. Dhi mahi dhiyo yo na prachodayat swaha. You know where it comes from? It comes from there. And there's so much which is continuous from that 5,000-year-old civilization. And by the way, let me give you another interesting piece of news. IIT Kharagpur, carbon dated, luminescence dated, some of the pottery shards found in Rakigiri and Bedhana. And just guess what is the age, the scientific age of that? 9,500 years from today. You know what is the Indian grand Indian narrative? Sir, may I suggest it is कुछ है हम में कि मिट सकती नहीं कभी हस्ती हमारी सदियों रहा है दुश्मन सारे जहां हमारा सारे जहां से अच्छा हिंदुस्तान हमारा हम 9,500 वर्ष पुराने हैं कार्बन डेटेड I'm not talking from an RSS shaka. I'm talking from empirical study. And it needs to be put on a sound academic basis. So we are trying to get our best academic minds and we want Indians to do it. We want Indians. We do not need the Wendy Donagers. We do not need the Sheldon Pollock. We will do it ourselves in a manner that is convincing. Rajiv Ji will put the entire deliberations of that seminar on the World Wide Web, or to the universities in the United States, to the universities in Europe. If they have the academic wherewithal, let them challenge us. We challenge them to an open debate. Rajiv Ji has been challenging Romila Thapar to a debate. She refused to come. आने तो दीजिए. She's been tried in absentia by him on the video, but this is the way we will do it. Ladies and gentlemen, please join us. Today we are kick-starting a great campaign, the Saraswati campaign. Right? To revive the Saraswati. And you know what the Vedas say about the Saraswati? Devittame, Navittame, Anuttame. The greatest of all the Devis, the greatest of all the rivers, the greatest of all the mothers. We are her children. Hum Saraswat hai sare ke sare because we originated on the banks of the Saraswati. That is the cradle river of the civilization. First, get your cradle river right. We have a whole lot of things that will emerge over the next 3, 4, 5 days. And that is why I am very grateful to Meenakshi Ji for giving a cultural impetus to this whole program. What I wanted to highlight was the cultural continuity of this ancient civilization. The genes and the memes, the cultural memes are so constant. Your boat design is the same as the boat design in the Indus Valley. Your bullock cart design is the same. The way you plant your crops is the same. Your pictures, your design of your pots, it's just that they are in metal today or aluminium instead of that copper shard. And with this, I would give a break to my eloquence because we have a lot to discuss, to thrash out academically, empirically, on the basis of facts. And we will see who is right and who is wrong. Thank you so much. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.